Okay. All right.
All right, everybody. I want to welcome you. It's been a few weeks, but we're back with another Conversations with Cougars, and I could not be more pleased with my current guest. Yes, he is with us. Yes, he's ready to talk tonight. Oh, this is amateur hour. I got to turn this down. My guest, my teammate, my classmate, my friend, number two, Chris Holmes. Good evening, Chris. Good to see you, bud.
Hey, buddy. How you doing? Good to see you.
Man, I am so pleased to see you. We got so many good stories to share.
We do.
And as we do, folks are rolling in some names you're going to know immediately.
No.
How about Ramona Stanley Walker in the house?
Mona.
Elaine Woods Johnson. Good to see you, Miss Johnson.
Yes.
Oh, we got folks. There's so many there. As they come through, I'll let you know, Chris. But for those few, Stephanie Wax Beckett. Hey, Stephanie, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in for our chat with Chris Holmes. For the few of you who may not be familiar with the class of '86, Chris and I were in the same class. We were middle school and high school friends, teammates, and classmates. He was number two for all these years. And every team, as I said in the promo, every team needs one of those teammates who is not just solid and reliable on the field, but more importantly, solid and reliable in the clubhouse and off the field. And there's no finer example. You can't find me one than this man right here, Chris Holmes. And I have always held you in high regard, not only from that standpoint, but as one of my friends.
Man, hey, I appreciate that, Bernard. You've had so many superhumans on your shows here. Coach Parrish, Coach Ragsdale, Lawrence, Woo. I could have listened to Woo for another hour. That was just awesome. And so I appreciate you inviting me on, buddy, for sure.
Certainly. Well, Chris, when they write the story, the history of Northview football, you are absolutely woven into that fabric for your 84 and 85, our junior and senior years and accomplishments. Want to welcome Coach Randy Hicks to the show tonight.
Coach.
How about Mark Saffold is joining us? There's so many rolling through here. Patrick Fitch.
Thank you, guys. I don't want it. You take it. I don't.
Chris, we're not even going to be able to talk. We got so many folks that are in here for you. But guys, I want to share a couple of things in a few minutes about Chris's accomplishments on the field. But Chris, I want you to kind of catch folks up, because nobody knows where you are these days. So share a little bit about your beautiful family and what you're doing and that kind of good stuff.
All right. So apologies for the ambiance, but I'm in a Marriott in Minneapolis. I got to pay the bills, so I'm out selling glass. But I graduated, of course, at Alabama, engineering. Worked my way through, and now I'm on a glass company. And so for the Midwest region, live in Southwest Michigan, a little town called Stevensville, not far from Chicago. And basically I'm the sales and marketing manager for the Midwest. So I'm working with architects, engineers, trying to put our glass in these huge towers that are going up all the way down to houses as well. So yeah, that's kind of where that's at. As far as my family, I met my wife, Judy. We've been married now for 19 years. I'm going to say.
You better get that straight.
About 19, about there. My son, he just graduated from high school. Proud of that. He's going to be going to a local college, a 2-year Lake Michigan college. Had a great high school career. I want to apologize to Mr. Christian and all of the band members. I've been a band parent for 4 years now, and the band group works their tails off. They do 3 days at band camp just like we did. And
CJ says, Dad, I'll see your 1 state championship ring. And what does he say in response?
What do you say? I got 3. He's got 3. So what can you do?
That's awesome. I know you're proud.
Yes.
All right, Chris, we got Shirley C is here. She says to tell you hello.
Miss C, yes.
Michael Shackelford says, good to see you guys.
Mike.
I told you, you're bringing them all out tonight.
Oh my goodness, that's too much.
Well, guys, my first recollection of you, Chris, is during our middle school years.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things may have changed in those 6 or 7 years we were in school together, but some things didn't change. Always with a big old smile. I loved your disposition, and that coupled with just the friendship. It's as straightforward as, if you need a friend, if you need somebody reliable, Chris is your guy. And that's always, again, I always appreciated that about you. What I want to talk about, where did you grow up in Dothan? And when did football get on your radar screen as a sport that you enjoyed playing?
Okay, so I was a military brat. My father in the military, he flew helicopters all his life since he was 17. So I was actually born in Daleville when he was at Fort Rucker. Mm-hmm. Not long after that, we moved to Texas, Fort Hood. We moved to Alaska in Fairbanks, moved over to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. And then in the 5th grade, we moved back to, he moved back to Fort Rucker. So 5th grade, that's when I moved, I was at Montana Street, went to Montana Street School. That's where, hey, you know what? We were doing what everyone else was doing. It didn't matter if it was during recess. You find a good pecan. You find a good, you know, whatever you can find to play some ball. And so, you know, Danny Michaelis, Jeff Davis, Jim McKenzie, everybody calls him Catfish.
Yeah,
Catfish. He's my boy. He's my boy. Yeah, I couldn't have done anything without him, and of course Harry as well. So. But yeah, so started at Montana Street, had Miss Rowland. Miss Rowland was my teacher there. Mm-hmm. Went over to Girard. Mm-hmm. And so then in Girard, 7th grade, that's when I started playing. And that was because Harry and Jim kept kicking my butt all the time, saying, hey, you gotta get out here with us. Yeah. And so that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, I knew those guys just before I knew you. And 7th and 8th grade is when we developed our friendship and teammates, and those like powder blue. I don't know what the right color was. I never liked the color. I thought it was too light. But I know what my memories were about practicing on that incredibly awesome field behind the school. I want to hear your recollection of that field.
Oh my gosh, it was like a trash heap. I mean, you get out there, just laying down stretching was painful, because you're like, you remember Big 21, where 21 sit-ups, 21 push-ups?
No, I don't remember that.
Coach Singletary used to kick our butt. So, but I enjoyed 7th grade football because I played free safety there, and with that, I was allowed to see the other teams we were going to play. So. We're going to play honeysuckle. It was like just an air show. I'd see 83, 88 just running all over people. And it's Cassie and Willie, you know, and Cassie and Mark Reed just catching the ball on everybody. Then went to Carver, and it was like they had the Twin Towers, and then they had Lawrence. And I remember Marvin, because he dumped me on my head when I intercepted a pass there. Yeah. Him and the other cat dumped me on my head. So I remember Marvin, but I can't remember the other cat's name.
Yeah, I can't either. I just remember they were so athletic.
Yeah. And then of course Beverly. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see, you're watching this one kid, and all he's doing is moving his hips back, and I'm like, why can't anyone tackle him? Of course, it's Dennis Tillman. He's just running all over everybody. And he did the same thing to us.
I was going to say that didn't change through high school either.
Yeah.
DT was a very talented player.
He was special, man. He was special. Yeah.
He was. I remember the weeds. When we would be stretching, the weeds would be higher than your body in that broken glass and rocks and all that awful stuff.
Yeah. There was no treatment no grass treatment.
Yeah. And maybe, Chris, maybe there were some lessons in there. I still haven't figured it out, but maybe it's supposed to make you a little tougher. But we got through those 2 years.
We did.
Now, what part of town were you living in during your middle school years?
So I lived in on North Orange. So it was basically Newton and Park. There's a very large Methodist church right on 54 as you're going in. I live right behind that Methodist church, that huge church that took up basically an entire block there. So,
and when was the first time you either went to a Northview football game or you visited the campus, or it became on your radar screen, that's where I'm gonna be going to school?
yeah, so this is Harry and Jim. It was like, hey, let's go out to Northview. We're getting ready, getting ready for ninth grade, and so a lot of guys are up throwing the football right outside the weight room. They had all the bleachers pushed up. This one guy looked like a linebacker. He was up there throwing the ball. Harry goes up, says, "Hey, Chris, you think you can catch the ball, don't you?" I said, "Hey, that's the one thing I know I can do. I can catch the ball." And he said, "Hey, go down there, and I want you to catch one." Then he said, "Hey, Leo, throw him one." And so I'm going to be Mr. Cool and try to catch it nice and easy. It went right through my head. So yeah, Leo, and I could hear it come by too. So
Leo was one of the most gifted athletes, I bet you, that ever came through Northview. But one of the things, it took him a little bit of time to get a little touch on his passes, but he was Brett Favre before Favre. He had a bazooka.
You could hear that ball coming. You could hear it sizzling through the air. Yes.
Chris, I want to welcome a couple of other, I'm going to call them old heads from back in the day. We got Selwyn Lynn is with us.
Selwyn.
And Norris Thomas has dropped in. So thank you.
Oh my God. Norris, love you, man. Love you, yes.
Yeah. And my mom has dropped in. Thanks, Mom.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Miss Dunberg.
I told you, bud, you're going to have them rolling in tonight. They've been missing you. So what else was some of your first impressions of going over to Northview, ninth grade, and those early days over there?
Yeah, you know what? It was that time where it was like, okay, we know we're going to have some more teammates coming in. And it was like, hey, I lost my buddy Channing Branch. He went to Dothan High. And it's like, okay, so Chan's gone now. So like, who's coming in? Who's going to help us out here on the line? And so we got Patrick Fitch coming. He came in a year after, but hey, you know what? We had an awesome line coming in, but we had a good group. We had a good group coming in, a large group actually.
We had somewhere, I think we started out with about 90 in our class. And I posted the picture from the yearbook of the baby Cougars is what they called us. And I want to say there were about 70 in that photo. Now, as the years went on, we dwindled down to about 16 or 17.
Right.
But when we started out, we had a huge number in ninth grade.
There was a lot of talent, though, a lot of talent, a lot of speed. And so it was like, I think for Coach Cleveland, it was like, okay, it wasn't about, I don't think it was so much about, hey, let's win every game. It's like, let's get this thing to gel.
Yeah.
And he did a great job. Him and Coach Tripp, they did a great job of figuring out and getting people to gel together and saying, okay, where do you need to be?
And let's talk about the academic adjustment. That's a huge campus. Girard was not small, but it was a middle school. You get over to our junior college campus is what I call it. It's intimidating. And how long did it take you to get your feet under you for high school?
You know what? It took from an academic standpoint, it took a little while, but I mean there was a good transition where we had the home ec classes, and you can transition to art, and so that was good. Kind of made everyone kind of gel. Never had much issues with the math classes and the English classes and those types of things, but yeah, the transition was actually pretty smooth there. All the teachers were great.
You're sugarcoating it. They weren't all great. You had favorites. We all did.
Well, yeah.
Chris, I always remember. I remember your band skills. I remember you also had several friends who were not part of the football team, which I always thought is so healthy. I always tried to maintain friendships away from football as well. You just kind of get away from it. Talk a little bit about your friendships. Who were some of your buddies running around during the high school years who weren't necessarily part of the program?
Well, so backing up just a little bit. So in middle school, I ran track as well. So I ran 880, and so say 8th grade, I won all of our individual, meets, and then we had the 4-way where everyone comes together.
Yeah.
And of course, we had Harry, we had Morris, O was coming up. So we were very strong, and our ladies, Mona, the tracks, we had a very strong track team at Gerard and coming over. And so in the 4-way meet though, I was in the lead coming around. First lap was easy. Second lap, coming around that last corner, Tyrus Turner. Not sure if you remember Tyrus.
No, I don't remember Tyrus.
But real good guy. But he came around and got me in the last couple meters there. But enjoyed that. But yeah, Warren Lewis. I mean, of course, we had Phil Northington. That was the thing. We were talking a little bit before we came on. The one thing was we just had good people. It was good people that we in our class.
We really did. I remember Warren. Warren had a little fro going. I remember he
did, yes.
Hairstyle. He was a nice dude. He really was.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, good people. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about ninth grade football a little bit. We actually ended up, we had a good team. We had the basis of what would ultimately be our state championship team. But I remember those first practices. I didn't know where I was going to play. You probably didn't know where you were going to play. It wasn't until the coach said, all right, y'all throw the ball. Let's see who can throw it. And that just kind of, for me, it just moved me and Tim Bright and a couple others over to the backfield.
Yes.
But going in, did you think offense, defense? Where'd you think?
I wanted to be a wide receiver. Yeah, so I grabbed number 80 as soon as I could, and so yeah, I held on to that tight. So that's what I wanted to be. Yeah. Loved of course Jerry Rice, as everyone did.
Oh yeah, that was in the heyday when he was coming up through there. Now, looking at the guys who were then when we were ninth grade, the older players who were JV and varsity, were there any guys who you kind of tried to pattern yourself after or wanted to follow in their steps?
I tell you what, actually what I looked at more was I looked at the defense, and I was watching those guys, the Bruce Johnson, and I got to say, you know what, just his passing, it hit me hard. I was watching you and Butch, and I heard Butch mention Bruce, and I said, man, did he say? So I had to actually stop what I was doing. I had to walk around, just kind of take some time away, and then
and Chris, we all did, and we all miss Bruce, and I was so fortunate to have a conversation with Bruce last year. So if you hadn't caught that, go back, and we really had a very nice conversation. But go ahead.
Yeah. So Bruce, very engaging. So we would talk, and I would try to understand. Okay, Bruce, what are you trying to do when you're doing this? When you're here, when you're shading me this way and that way? And so I would try to understand those things, and then of course you had Butch on the other side, who had the quickest feet and the quickest hands. He could jam you twice before you try to get off the line. So it was. I had the opportunity to learn from the best. So as far as I saw you write those nice things about precision and all that, it came because you were going, like you said, we were going against the best. We were going against
Coach Griffin, and I promise you, I'm going to get him on this show at some point. But he just developed those defensive backs. So many of those guys went on from Northview to play in college, but I suspect you going up against them only made you all better from a route running and learning how to protect yourself on a day-to-day basis.
It did. You're either going to strive or thrive, or you're just going to fall to the wayside. And they did. They pushed you to be better. And there were really only, I would say there were only really three through my career. There were only three that we were really concerned about from a DB standpoint. Sean Smith, and we'll talk a little bit about him.
Yeah.
Ray Gibson at High, and then Enterprise had a kid that was tough.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but those three were three of the very best in the 80s in the Wiregrass, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting from ninth grade. We have a pretty good season. We're all moving up to 10th grade. I was playing baseball. You were running track in the spring, but then we come back together for spring ball. And our JV year, our 10th grade year, we had an outstanding team. We put it on some schools. And do you have any recollections about that time period? We were all wanting to play varsity, but it wasn't just our time yet.
We did, and we thought we were good enough to do it as well. Yeah, we were pretty cocky, like you said, coming into it. And I remember one time you and I where we got in trouble. I mean, playing this one team. I think it was down in Florida.
Yeah.
The kid's playing up on me. He's playing a jam, jamming me, and I'm looking at you like, is this guy gonna do this the whole game? And so yeah, that was so I don't know what the coach called, but you and I were like, hey,
We changed it. Yeah.
So hey, you know what? So he's up. You give me the signal. I said, okay, let's do it.
Well, I will tell you, Chris, those 2 years really laid the groundwork for our junior and senior years, because
It did.
we our junior year, it wasn't as successful a year as we'd wanted. We were 4-6 that year, but you and I got in a couple of good plays. In fact, I don't know if our pictures have come down at Foley High School yet, the wanted signs, because for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna brag on Chris a little bit in these 2 games. Our junior year, we're playing Foley at home. Fourth quarter, we're behind. We marched 99.5 yards. I hit Chris in the back of the end zone as time expired against Foley. Our junior year, Lopez kicks the extra point. We beat them. So that was a big dramatic win. It was a great accomplishment for the team that night. Fast forward a year later, we're at Foley. Fourth quarter again, I find Chris in the back of the end zone with less than a minute to go. We end up beating those guys, I think maybe in overtime. I can't remember if it was one of the 5 overtimes. So for 2 straight years, number 2 with 6 for the winner. And those are 2 that I'll always cherish those. There were other big games, but those 2 particular plays just showed me I knew who to rely on in the back of the end zone when it was time.
And that was my job, Bernard. That was my job. We had Lawrence, we had David. They were going to fly everywhere. So I just needed to be that guy that you could trust to say, hey, you know what? We need 7 yards, Chris. We need 10 yards.
Time and time.
And you could turn to me and throw it. So that's where I wanted to be.
Guys, here's a cool fact about Chris' junior year. This would have been the season of '84 I was referring to. He caught touchdown passes from 3 different folks. Jonathan Coe, me, and Lawrence Dawsey all threw touchdowns to Chris our junior year. I think that's a pretty cool accomplishment in and of itself. Maybe it just showed we were trying to have a variety of what we were doing on offense. But Chris, I want to get a little bit of your recollection about our defense. Our junior and senior year, there were so many of these guys who were ultimately played on the next level, very accomplished, and it only helped us to go against them when 1v1s. But sometimes it got a little chippy in there. So share a little bit about that.
It did, and it was great because Coach Hicks, Coach Ragsdale, they knew how to twist and turn the buttons, and then Coach Parrish would play right into it, and he would have us all going at each other. And so, yeah, it was nothing belligerent or nothing wrong. It was just, hey, good competition is going to bring the best out of us, and that's what they did, and we did it every single day. And
I'm telling you, it was getting after it, whether it was goal line or it could be it could be special teams. It didn't matter what it was. You got after it between the lines, but when you walked off the field, we were a team.
Yes.
And I really think through thick and thin, as roller coaster of our senior year, I think that really is what helped us to stay together. When Lawrence, we go to that first game against Robert E. Lee that Monday after the hurricane, and he breaks his arm in the first series.
Right.
What worse thing could happen when your superstar, who we rely upon so much, O'Shawn comes in, Saffold comes in, they do play admirably, but we go 1-3 our first 4 games. Lawrence comes back, and we just, I want to say during that month, even though things were not going the way we wanted it, Chris, I do remember having a seniors meeting about halfway through that. And I just remember saying, it's not the end of the world. We still got our area games coming up. We just need to keep getting to the point where we can get Lawrence back. And I don't know if you have specific recollections, but that's one of those times to me that paved the way for the better times and the overtimes, and then the better times toward the end of that season.
Yeah, no. So I mean, our team, we could push each other. You said Shackelford, he was on. He would get on to me whenever, if I did something stupid or dumb in the game, he would get on to me as a 10th grader. Of course, me and David were on each other all the time. It's like, hey, run the right routes. Make sure you.
Wait. Make no mistake. Number 87 never ran a bad route. David Hogan, I love him to death. Tolerated him back then, but he never. Come on now, but keep going.
Hey, but yeah, I mean, so that was the thing. Even though we could get onto each other, but knew it was about getting better. But even though we were losing games, we still had so much confidence that these guys, we knew that the other teams that were beating us weren't better than us because we had Dulcie, sitting on the bench, ready to kind of come in as soon as possible. So
and those losses were close losses. We didn't get blown out by any game.
No one. Yes, no.
Want to welcome Rick Cazenave has joined.
Rick, oh my gosh, Rick, awesome.
Had a great conversation with Rick several months ago here.
Yes.
But Chris, we get Lawrence back homecoming. And we beat, I think it was the number 9 or 10 team in the state of Georgia. We shut them out, which was a huge shock, I think, to most folks, but it just got us rolling. Lawrence comes back was a huge boost. And I just remember, one of the things I do remember inside the school throughout the weeks, it was a lot of not folks getting down on us. It was quite the opposite. It was more like, we're here. We're Northview. We're coming to the games. We're rooting for you guys. And I always felt that. I don't know if you felt that as well, but I did.
The spirit was there. My older sister, she went to school, Elaine, she went to school with Larry Roberts and Herschel and Pye and all those guys. The school spirit was there from there on to Doug and Wu. I mean, matter of fact, I was thinking, as a, just kind of an odd thought there, but so we all loved going to the movies, and so we would go to the movies, and this was when Doug and Wu were there. And there was this one movie that we went to, and it just started off all wrong. It was kind of an old South kind of just the wrong flavor. And so we were all kind of sitting there real quiet. Then all of a sudden, Doug was like, man, we don't need to be, we don't have time for this. He gets up, Wu gets up, and then the whole team, all of us together. And I said, okay, yeah, we're a team. We're a team. And that's the way we were. We had leaders. We were a team. We were going to do things together. And definitely, even though we were losing those first few games, you know what? We still thought, hey, we can beat anybody.
Yeah, and while it was frustrating those first few games, things started to click. And for those of you who may not know, we ended up winning 10 of our last 11 games. And the one game we lost, of course, was to Dothan High in overtime, but it ended up being fortuitous for us because it made us second in the region, and we didn't have to face Bo Peep. We didn't have to face James Joseph and Central Phoenix City. He actually got hurt in the Dothan High game the week before. They beat Dothan High in Dothan at Rip Hughes. We went and shocked the world, beat the number 1 team in the state. And I want you to talk about Sean Smith, because he was a special talent out of Opelika.
All right, well, let me back up to the Dothan High game, because it's been 35 years, and I gotta get this off my chest.
Okay.
I gotta get it off my chest. So, and this is why I love the team. I love Cougar Nation, Cougar Spirit. Oh my! I had the biggest bonehead play in that Dothan High game, and don't you ever say that you threw an interception in that game. That was on me. So it's a crossing pattern, all right? And so I'm doing a deep in. Lawrence is dragging across. So I can see Lawrence coming, and I'm watching you. So Lawrence is coming across, and I can see him. I said, okay, Lawrence, he had a step on the strong safety. So I said, okay, Lawrence is open. I said, Bernard, and I can tell when you're about to throw it. And so I said, you had it cocked and ready. I said, oh, it's about to come. And so I see Lawrence going up. And going up and going up, and he kept going up, but then the ball went right over his head, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's throwing it to me!" Hits me, and I I tracked it and it landed right in Ray's hands. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe it. I'm watching Lawrence here getting ready to block for him. And so yeah, I was sick the entire week.
I loved you back then, and I still love you today. And things have a way of working out because they did. Scotty Dees kicks the field goal, beats us. We didn't like that. Those are high wins our senior year, but in the long run, it ended up benefiting us. So things do have a way of working out, Chris.
It did, and because Coach Andrews, he called that same play against Lee, and if I done that against Lee, then it would have been over for us. So I was going to make sure I caught that one, and that was a third and 15. So I did that one.
That was probably the clutch catch of that game, and we'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay.
But I want to talk about Sean Smith because he was a parade All-America. He had a huge reputation, and deservedly so.
Yes.
He was an Auburn commit, and you didn't throw towards Sean.
No.
But we took care of business that game.
It was keeping them off balance, and it took you and me a while to figure out, and David to figure out what Coach Andrews was trying to do to set these guys up, and he set them up perfectly. And that was when I caught a touchdown on the hitch play from Lawrence. You got it to Lawrence quickly.
Yep. I
can tell when I've got the DB, when he breaks down, I go around him and it was over. And Sean was a beast. 6'3", I don't know, 210, whatever he was. I mean, he was a monster. He could fly.
And I don't know if he still holds state records, but he set state records for either interceptions or something very impressive on his part. But we got past them. We shocked the world. Then we took care of Central Phoenix City. And then, frankly, we had the game that put us all on the map. It was 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But before we could get to that, you had 1 or maybe 2 clutch catches that set up certain plays. And we didn't know it at the time, Chris. Who in the world scores 3 touchdowns in 10 minutes in a fourth quarter against Robert E. Lee, one of the big dogs?
Right. And that was, again, this was where, hey, okay, now I can tell the way that Coach Andrews is calling the plays. I can tell what he's looking for. He's calling the quick hitch. All right, let me just get the first down. You're going to be looking for David for the big crossing pattern. Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, it was perfect. I mean, it was perfect play calling in that fourth quarter. That's what got us there. That's what
it did. And just having you as the safety net, knowing that I could get 7 to 10 yards when we needed it, and you had just the ability to just do it and let's get back in the huddle and do it again. But I will tell you, we go through that we go through that game. That's the semifinal. Then we play, or the quarterfinals. We play the semis against Fairhope in the mud in Dothan. And you may remember this. We're driving deep. I drop the center snap. Lawrence picks it up and jumps over to score. And then thankfully Clark kicks us an overtime field goal that puts us in the state game. Now that's where I want to head to this. Okay. We've already had all of our overtimes. Some have called us the cardiac team, whatever it is. I'm sure the parents and friends and family in the stands are probably losing their mind at that time. But I will tell you, and I know it's easy to say this now, but from the tone of being in the huddle, and here's a great example. I hope you remember this like I do. Fourth quarter, going back to the Robert E. Lee game, we get the ball back. Do you remember what Chris Lee says in the huddle?
Cracking jokes in the huddle.
Yep.
We're like,
Chris basically says, yeah, we got them where we want them. Let's go win this game. And frankly, that just kind of sums up. It wasn't a tense kind of a thing, even though we were in a really bad spot, but it just showed the maturity. It showed that everybody had a job. Everybody knew what their job was, and it was time to go execute.
Everyone, and I have to say we had a great team of juniors that year as well. Mark Smith, Ross, Patrick, Sappho. I mean, we had a great. It was a team. Now I think we did a good job as being leaders and making sure that we were doing things the right way, staying on the straight. But great team effort for sure.
Well, guys, I'm talking with Chris Holmes, one of my former teammates and classmates. We're running through our season of 85, and I appreciate just reminiscing and learning some of Chris's memories and sharing some good thoughts and stuff. But Chris, I want to talk about that Tuesday going up to Legion Field, Birmingham. We did the run through practice so we could see what the stadium looked like and get a feel for that artificial turf, which we had never played on. But what were some of your impressions about that day?
So I'll tell you, if you ask Cassie and Lawrence and everybody, man, we thought we were going to be playing J.O. Johnson. And we were looking forward to playing the
number 2 team in the country.
We wanted them. We didn't get Dothan High. We wanted Dothan High in the playoffs. Now, how big of a game would that Dothan High game? Has Dothan High and Northview ever played in the playoffs?
I don't think so. Maybe some of the historians can tell us that, but I don't think they've ever played in the playoffs.
That would have been crazy. But yeah, so it's like, okay, we're playing Huffman. All right, let's go at them. And we didn't have any fear of them. It was I think it was only at that point we only thought that we could lose the game. We couldn't be beat. So we were ready. We were ready.
What was your impression of Legion Field for the first time walking on it and doing that walkthrough we did?
Oh man, well, getting those turf shoes and and then walking on the turf and having that carpet. I mean, it was awesome. You felt like you were a little bit faster. You felt like you could move around a little better. And so and of course, obviously it looked so huge. But once you get in between the lines, I was always able to. Everything got quiet when I got on the field. Everything got quiet except for us. And so I don't know. I could always tune everything out.
It was a hectic day. It was a fun day, but then we come back and we come up and we stayed at the Holiday Inn at the airport. And I still have to find out from Bubba why in the world he chose that place.
Thanks, Coach. Yeah.
It's not in a great neighborhood, but I just remember we went to the movies in Hoover. We saw Rocky IV, if I remember correctly, and stayed there, got to the stadium, and we just took care of business. And it was very much unlike most of our games that year.
Yes. I think it was more like things that we should have been doing through the other times. But I mean, like you say, we learned as we moved through it. But yeah, once Aristotle picked up the ball and took it to that man.
I was going to say we didn't start out the game very well because they marched down and scored. Then we turned it back over to them and they were marching again. But then Bobby Estes put a hit and Aristotle took it 90 plus yards. And that just kind of turned the game.
Everything seemed to relax and it was like, okay, let's go play ball. Let's go do what we came to do now. Yeah.
And by halftime, I think we were up by 17 or so, a couple of touchdowns at least. And we were not used to that situation.
No, not at all. So we kind of coach started rotating the team through, and so it was good. I mean, the whole experience was awesome. Just going up. I always remember Michelle and Heather whenever we were getting on the bus and everyone was running out and cheering us on. It was like, wow, this is really about to happen. This is really about to happen. And
in my mind's eye, Legion Field was completely full. There were 70,000 people. They were all from Dothan. In reality, it was probably 22 to 25,000. But I will tell you, it felt like everybody was from Dothan on our sidelines. And by the time we were able to loosen the pads late in the third quarter, everybody was coming over to the fence and saying hello and congratulating us.
Hey, we had, such school spirit. I mean, of course, Mr. Smith, all the way, every student. I mean, we had the backing of everyone. So it was, and that's how it was from the ninth grade. Like you said, when we walked in the ninth grade, I mean, going into that pep rally, it was like, wow. And you start cheering, each group starts cheering.
Yeah,
man, that was okay. We're gonna have some fun here.
Well, let's talk about a little bit. Let's step back from the seasons and talk about school spirit. Let's talk about classes. I know you said earlier you loved all your teachers, but you probably enjoyed certain classes more. Where talk a little bit about that. What classes did you enjoy? What teachers really got your attention?
Yeah. So really my favorite class was drafting, Mr. Palmer and drafting. I of course, mechanical. That's why I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. It was like, hey, you know what? I love drafting. And so, so he entered me into a regional contest at Wallace. And so I went over there, I did well. And so I got to go to the state competition in Birmingham. And he was like, well, Chris, you're gonna have to take somebody with you. And so Lawrence was in he was in drafting, but he was in another class. So it's like, hey, Lawrence, you mind missing a day of school? He was like, hey, let's go. So me, Mr. Palmer, and Lawrence, we go to a nice hotel. We go to a nice hotel, Coach Johnson. And but when we get there, girls are everywhere. I mean, it's like, this place is crazy. I'm like, man, Lawrence, what's going on? And so come to find out, there's a group there, New Edition. I'm not sure if you remember a group called New
Edition. Oh yeah.
But they had a concert, and so they were staying in the same hotel. So we go up to the room. We going up several floors, throw our stuff down. Lawrence goes over to the window, pulls the window back, and I hear screaming. All these girls start screaming. Lawrence calls me, Chris, come here, man. I go over. They're screaming so he's like, oh, they think we're New Edition. So yeah, we had some fun time. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's a great memory, a great experience.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we've got a few more minutes in our talk, okay. And I sure appreciate your time and catching up a little bit. Where within the school, when you wanted to get away from track and football, were there any places you like to hang out in the school with your friends? I know we didn't have a lot of time, but when you had a few minutes, or maybe during our midday break, where would you hang out?
You know what? I mean, it was me and David and Morris, and we would just kind of hang out wherever, and just at the lockers. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, we just kind of hang out and talk and laugh and,
Well, for the younger generations, they never knew that the lockers were all lined up in the middle of that large area outside the library.
Right. And it was awesome for us because it gives you a level of or feeling of privacy. Not that you need privacy in school, but it gave you a feeling of, okay, hey, I'm going to my place, and you go to your locker and you got your group, but I couldn't imagine having everything, all of them along the walls. I guess that's what they did later at some point because something was happening there, but
they did. All right, what was your favorite lunch at school?
I mean, it had to be pizza. That was always the go-to.
$1.25 got you all the pizza, fries, and lemonade you can handle.
That was always the go-to. Yeah, yes. So,
well, Chris, let's talk a little bit about track, and I got a couple more things I want to hit. Let's talk about your track experience. Did you continue to run track all the way through your senior year? So
I did. And so senior year, we had a good year as far as people going to state. So we were in the prelims. I did the 880. I didn't do well in the prelims there. So because I'm kind of standing back, waiting for Harry and David, Morris, and Tim to run. Mm-hmm. And Coach Griffin comes over to me and says, hey, Chris, they're getting ready to run the mile. I need you to go get ready. I'm like, hey, Coach, what do you want from me, Coach? I'm like, what are you talking about? I signed you up for the mile. Go quit your crying and go get it. So I'm like, so here I am. I'm in the mile. All right. So first lap, easy. Second lap, I'm feeling really, really good. Benign. So it's like, okay. So I give Coach Griffin kind of that look like, hey, I'm about to turn it up a little bit here. Uh-huh. I do that. And he's like, no, not yet. Yeah. So I slow it back down, just kind of trace it. So, ultimately I come in third. I make it to state in the mile, which I had not run. So
that's awesome.
That's Coach Griffin for you.
Miss C wants to know, were you part of that crew that used to run to Headland and back as part of your training?
He did make us run, yes, down to the park and back, down to Headland and back. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, but
Now, did you don?
I asked somebody about the boots. No, don't
Yeah,
even
that wasn't you.
don't
Okay.
even think about it. Don't
Yeah.
even think about it.
Yeah, I remember some of the older guys wearing those. I guess they were combat boots or military boots. Crazy, crazy. Well, Chris,
Yeah.
let's talk about we get out of our senior year of high school, and before that, we knew you were going to Alabama. All of us had our where we were going, but at some point, you were briefly part of the Alabama football program. So share just a little bit about that.
So yes, yeah. So still had that football buzz, and so it's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go out. So Coach Bill Curry, he's the head coach. So go out the summer. I mean, and actually, I think the defensive end, one of the key plays I think that you were talking about at Fairhope, the defensive end, when you threw the pass, he tipped it and I caught it anyway on the sideline. I was staying with him. We both walked on that at the same time there. He was the defensive end, I was the receiver. And so walked on there, had guys, Bobby Humphrey, Gene Jelks, Derek Thomas was absolutely the most freak of all freaks as far as athletes, just an awesome player. But all good guys, And so
was that our sophomore year? What year did you walk on for the season?
Yeah, my sophomore year. Yes, my sophomore year. Yes.
I know it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know it had to have been an experience for you.
Oh my goodness, it was a workout. You were talking about the let's see, I forget what we called it, but they had lower gym. There was a gym underneath the basketball stadium, the Coliseum. There were some gyms underneath there. No ventilation, no air, no anything. And so what they would do is you would go into these lower gyms, these heat boxes, and have all these stations made up. And so you're doing crabs, you're doing runs, you're doing shuffles, and of course, like you said, they had these ammonia buckets in each corner, and you didn't come out of there till like 2 or 3 people at least threw up. So it was, and then you got to go up, and then you got your time on running around the Coliseum. So it was some serious pain, but it was all good. It was all good.
Well, you clearly put in your time enough to make it on the bowl trip that season.
Yes.
You go down to Tampa, you play Michigan. Which bowl game was that?
That was the very first Hall of Fame bowl. The very first Hall of Fame bowl down in Tampa. We practiced that at on the Buccaneers field. Had Craig McMurtry, who was it? Jamie Morris was the running back at that time. We had them beat all the way up to the last minute, and so we lost 28-27 on the last play. So, but loved my time there. The wide receiver coach was Tommy Bowden, who, just as you would think his father was, he was just a special guy. Very calm, but an excellent teacher.
But at some point you made a decision. It was time to, the athlete in you, it was time to retire. So you hung it up after that year, and it was time to get more serious. Now, I want to ask you about conversations maybe you had with your folks or with your sister. I don't know how you made your decisions back then. If you would share a little bit about that, because that's not easy. It's not easy for an athlete, particularly when we're 19 or 20, to say, yeah, this I got to close this chapter and keep walking through this next one.
It was, yes. As the lab started to build up, now that I'm through the base courses, like I said, I didn't start till my sophomore year. Now getting through thermodynamics, and now things are really starting to pick up as far as the time necessary to hit the books. And in college at Alabama, football is a job, and you're there morning to evening. You better be thinking about it at some point. And so I still kick myself for not continuing, but it's one of those things where sometimes you got to make a decision and move with it. And so
ultimately for you made the right decision. I know, because it's for 99.9% of us, those 4 years or 5 years playing our sport in college, whatever it may be, we're not going into the professional ranks for a sport. Right. Going to the professional ranks for what hopefully we're in school for, or what our profession ultimately begins. And clearly, you made the best of it academically at Alabama to turn it into such a great career for you.
It's been awesome. Yeah, this is my 30 years at the same company. So it's been, hey, you know what? It's been a blessing for sure, buddy.
Well, I know you've been an awesome teammate for them, like you were an awesome teammate for us back in the day. That's for sure.
Still working at it. Still working at it.
As we all are. But Chris, I want to thank you, bud, for such a great conversation tonight. I really, really appreciate you spending some time with us, sharing a little bit of your story. And it has been so great to see your smiling face tonight.
Yes, go Cougars. Love everyone out there. Thanks for stopping out with us. Thank you, Bernard, for inviting me out. Yeah, we'll definitely get in touch, buddy. Definitely. Been too long.
Please do. And guys, we got more conversations with Cougars the upcoming Wednesday night. So get back with us, 7 o'clock Central. I'll post, as I do every Sunday, the next one that's coming up. I'll let you know who it is, when it is. Hope you guys continue to be safe out there. Do the right thing for you and your family. Y'all have a safe week, and we will talk to you next week. Y'all be well.
Yes.